Hi everyone, I'm Fox, and today I'm going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite badass female characters, Cassandra Pentaghast, what makes her a strong female character, and the impact she should have on the character trope system. Tropes have been used for storytelling for as long as human history has recorded stories. Probably even before then, stories were crafted with these recognizable and distinct character bases. In storytelling specifically, a trope is a stock character which can be reused across any number of stories in whatever way best befits the story. One of the most well-known examples is the tsundere, a character who says one usually very aggressive or mean thing, but actually deep down means the opposite, usually a kind or loving thing. Tropes like these are most commonly associated with Eastern media, but they do exist in Western media as well, more often in the form of repeated character concepts than intentional stock choice. Basically, modern Western media might say, we want a protagonist like Ben Tennyson, but a little different. And then they make Rex. Eastern media, on the other hand, might say, we want a tsundere, but this time, she's going to do blank. Now, instead of Taiga, you have Kurisu. It's entirely a stylistic choice, and it has no real bearing on the quality of the end product at all. It's just another way to tell a story. As a Canadian-made character, Cassandra's the Western style of the trope. At a glance, Cassandra Pentaghast looks like your standard strong female soldier trope. There's a bunch of them, and most of them are pretty great, but none of them have ever felt quite as awesome as Cassandra to me. I initially attributed this to her incredible BioWare writing. It's no secret that the old writers for BioWare were some of the most brilliant character writers in gaming, and as a result, Cass is by default a layered and complex character. But BioWare writers have done layered soldier women before, and in Dragon Age no less. And yet, Aveline just didn't have that same click for me. As someone who likes to overanalyze my own interests, I wasted a good amount of time pondering over that. Eventually, I realized it's because Cass isn't the female soldier trope. She may be a woman and a soldier, but she doesn't share the same traits as the female soldier trope. Really, trying to describe Cassandra Pentaghast is a lot like trying to describe a grown-up, more mature version of your typical teenage protagonist boy. And that means a lot for strong female characters in media. Spoilers ahead for Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, as well as the movie Dragon Age Dawn of the Seeker.
The truth is more important than my reputation. And anyone wishing to accuse me of weakness is welcome to try.
When you break down the typical rash Western hero, you'll get someone who's driven by their emotions. Think of Rex from Generator Rex, Ben from Ben 10, or Robin from Teen Titans. These characters are stubborn, passionate, and yet defined by their morals. When there's a question to be answered, characters like these will go with their gut feeling, for better or worse. They all have their goofy side traits and memeable moments, and in contrast, their chance to face some great reality that's ultimately so much bigger than them, they begin to question themselves. Oftentimes, their powers even come from questionable sources that they use for good regardless of the trouble these powers give them. Cass fits all of these descriptors. She's just older, and a woman. While there are teen hero protagonists who are female, characters like Luz from the Owl House or Anne from Amphibia are usually more goofy and thoughtful and a lot less full of it. Cassandra's age and base trope make her a truly unique character, which is especially rare as a female character. We can actually confirm Cassandra's trope too because of the movie Dawn of the Seeker, which follows Cassandra as a teenager. It's not the best movie ever made. And it's definitely darker than your typical Saturday morning cartoon, but it still shows how Cassandra's actions match up with the rash teen protagonist trope. For starters, she's told by her mentor figure not to follow her on his super secret mission, but she sneaks out and follows him anyways. This results in her mentor dying, because she recklessly ran into battle against his recommendation. Shortly after, Cassandra runs into a mage who claims he'd rather work with her than fight her. She knows she hates mages because they're supposed to be the enemy, so she treats him with a lot of anger and distrust, showing the kind of visceral hatred you get in the early parts of Teen Titans, whenever Robin hears the name Slade, or in the Lion Guard whenever Kion sees a hyena. It's not something female heroes are usually allowed to do, probably because of the underlying bias the writers have that girls are soft and caring. From here, Dawn of the Seeker is basically the movie version of that kind of episode, complete with her figuring out that some people aren't that bad after all. The whole story even ends with our silly teenage MC and her newly trusted friend stopping the craziest conspiracy ever in the most ridiculous, rash way possible, because she said she would. So by golly, she did. Fast forward in her life to Inquisition, and we see her still putting her feelings first as she abandons the Order of the Seekers to join the Inquisition, which she has little reason to trust in beyond her faith alone. She's incredibly stubborn and passionate, unafraid of giving her opinions on problems and standing her ground for them. She doesn't feel like she deserves to be leader, but a lot of people feel she should be. Regardless, she chooses to support a leader above her because of her belief in them and the cause, even if she butts heads with them sometimes. Towards the end of her personal quest, Cassandra learns her powers were never from the source she thought they were from. She seeks out the knowledge she needs to understand them, and then continues to use them for what she sees is right and just. Textbook rash hero. Cass is also written extremely naturally. Every line she has feels like something a person might actually say. She has beliefs about every problem in the world that are more complicated than black and white. She has hobbies. She might be incredibly skilled, but we know she worked hard to get there, and she has plenty of flaws to match. One of the best examples of this is her relationship with the spirit in a human body, Cole. Cass initially hates Cole because she doesn't understand him and thinks he's a demon. When she speaks directly with Cole, she's sort of like a mature adult humoring a child who she doesn't like very much. She's a polite listener and actually does appreciate his perspective, but even after she comes to appreciate their conversations, she still can't bring herself to think of him as anything more than a demon. Her stubbornness and gut-first mindset are almost always the source of her mistakes, something she herself is all too aware of. But like any real person, knowing is not the same as resolving. Writing on this level fits Cassandra smoothly into our first rule of writing a strong woman, but even the best characters aren't without their criticisms. One such critique might be that because she fits the rash protagonist trope, she falls into the unfortunate, a masculine woman is better ideology, since the trope is typically male. In this case though, I don't think it's an issue. The reason being, I don't think trope should be gendered. A trope is like a base that can be used to build a character off of. If you keep the base as close to the original slate as possible, you'll end up with a more cliched and less detailed character. If you build off of the base and make changes and adjustments, you can make a genuinely unique and great character. Those changes and additions can be anything, from backstory to intricate methods of handling emotions to something, frankly, as simple as gender. In theory, that means every trope has equal potential for success. But that implies all tropes are created equal. A good number of tropes have more limiters than necessary that are honestly the fault of audiences and creators alike. The female soldier character is a good example of this sort of thing, since it comes with a slew of easily avoided flaws that are unfortunately rooted in sexism. For example, a lot of female soldier characters are written to be little more than powerhouses with attitude and force. Unfortunately, with that kind of route, you can end up with a flat, emotionless character, or a character who doesn't have any obstacles to face at all. If a character never overcomes anything, are they strong, or just comically perfect? Then on the flip side, you can end up with characters who are written to be secretly soft underneath their intimidating exterior, but not because the writer wanted the character to have layers. Both of these occur because of some underlayer of, oh, and don't forget, she's a girl! Which can mean she therefore needs to lose more emotion, or she needs to be recognized as always having a hidden layer of soft ooh-woo feelings. The girl with the hidden ooh-woo is still technically meant to be a super hot waifu. The character with no emotion at all is usually some form of gratuitous political showing of how much big companies definitely support women. Neither of them were written with the first idea being who should this character be, but rather who should this female character be? A waifu? Or a so-called groundbreaking icon? With plenty of exceptions, the best female characters are generally speaking neither. Male characters in turn are usually written with who should this character be, right from the get-go. This is a harsh generalization, and of course there are exceptions, but it's a reality for many all the same. And this creates the female trope problem. If most female tropes were created from the question of who should this female character be, the most of them will be held back by the strings of sexism or repetitiveness. It's not to say that all female tropes are inherently sexist, but many of them cover the same type of girl with the same limitations of needing to be more attractive than they are layered. As a result, limiting female characters to only existing female tropes will continue to create the same weak female characters. Breaking the boundaries by creating new tropes, or using tropes that really shouldn't have gender attributed to them, can create more interesting female characters right from the get-go. The girl soldier can be layered, of course. So again, there are exceptions to this rule, but I would like to see diversity in the kinds of strong women we get. And when Cassandra first appeared, she was fresh and new. Writing the same woman who already exists 17 times over is lazy. You might get a fun character who fulfills a role in a story that needed that role, but you won't get a true, strong female character without pushing for a little more. Of course, it helps that BioWare of the time wrote the most incredible layered characters out there, and they didn't skimp on anyone. There are so many more ways that Cassandra can be broken down, from the flaws I didn't cover to the layers of detail in each choice she makes. But frankly, you don't have to be BioWare to write a good character. Overall, Cass is an incredible female character who does so much actual boundary breaking, and I wish I had time to talk about her even more because I really could. What do you think? Any strong soldier types or others you're dying to share with the world? We still want to hear all about it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching!